Hi everyone, I'm José Cruz, I'm an enterprise architect and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be talking about the Spring Scheduler. I will introduce this subject. In further videos I will go more deep on all the functionality, but today I expect for you to develop a very simple application that can call a method with a specific rate of time, meaning that every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. We'll see also when should we use the Spring Scheduler or other technologies like Spring Batch or even external systems when it's necessary. So let's go. What is a Spring Scheduler? Basically, it runs methods on a schedule inside your Spring app, and that's important to understand. It's inside your application. It means that you don't have nothing outside controlling jobs, creating orchestration between the methods, things like that. You just need a specific method to be executed once in a while with some specific time criteria. That's the main scope of the Spring Scheduler. If you need something more advanced than this, don't use Spring Scheduler. It will complicate a lot your application. So how can we use it in an application? First, you have to add this annotation to your main class, enable scheduling. So Spring at the start can prepare the task scheduler and schedule executor services to run the scheduler. And of course, all the methods that you want to be executed by this scheduler should have this annotation schedule. You have a lot of different triggers. Today I will target the fixedRate, fixedDelay, or Cron, but there are others that you can use. Okay. So when to use it: housekeeping, cleanup, cache refresh. Basically, it's something that you want to do inside of your application. If you need to orchestrate access to external systems and move data between these systems, and maybe you think Spring Scheduler is a good idea, it's not. You have other technologies that you should use, but not this one. It will complicate a lot. Remember that it's inside the application. You don't have a way on the outside to control or to create workflows or orchestration between. It's just an annotation in a specific method. You can try to somehow control and say, I will start this method. After 10 minutes, I will start the other one. But that it will be just crazy. And if you start to put some flags inside the methods or some kind of a state, it will make your life a nightmare as a developer. Try a different technology. You have other technologies in Spring, like Spring Batch and similar, that can do those kind of more complicated jobs. So housekeeping, pull jobs. Let's say you want to go to an API and get some information once in a while to feed your application. Heartbeats, this is one of the examples that I will develop today in a moment. If you can do an heartbeat, you can do any scheduler inside your application. Sometimes you just want to send some emails once in a while with some state that you have inside of your application, okay? Or maybe you just want to start a specific job, but you don't want to orchestrate them, because there is the Spring Batch. It's a different technology and framework that can do the same thing in a more advanced way, but you can put precedents, you can create workflows and things like that. And sometimes you just need a trigger, and you can use the scheduler for that. When you should not use, at this time probably already know, but you need one execution across a cluster, meaning it involves multiple machines. You need logs and things like that. It doesn't work. That's why I highlight the fact that it's a notation on a method and not outside or any configuration file. You have something like Spring Batch or Quartz. Quartz is quite advanced, and you can use, if you are using Kubernetes, you have CronJobs. There are a lot of applications that you can use when you need multiple clusters and feed the data from several places and things like that. Spring Scheduler, it's not the way to go. Imagine that you require persistent, pause, resume, complex calendars. Quartz, that's the technology, or it's one of the technologies to use. This is quite popular. Heavy, long pipeline, Spring Batch, it's different. Remember, again, Scheduler, it's only about executing a method once in a while. So practical notes: pick the trigger. There are a lot of them. Today we'll be targeting the fixedRate, fixedDelay, and Cron. Cron, it's quite popular. It's not related with Spring, but you can use inside Spring. It's a way to schedule things even in Linux, Windows, or any other operating system. So the fixedRate, it means that, let's say every 5 seconds you want to do something, or every 30 seconds. Okay, it's like click, clock, and you are always sending that information. You say every 30 seconds I want to do something. I want this method to be called. Then you have optionally the use of the fixedDelay, because imagine that you have something that takes that you want to run every 10 seconds, but imagine that it starts to take more than 10 seconds for which one of them. The other ones start work at the same time. At some point, you have a lot of threads, and maybe you are starting to have overwrite of data, because in your first approach, you thought that, okay, maybe my execution always takes less than 10 seconds. But if it takes more, imagine that takes 12 seconds, it means that the second one will start even before the first one to start. And maybe you want to say, no, I want to wait for the completion of the first one, and then wait at least 5 seconds, maybe for some reason, or 3 seconds. So usually I think it's a good practice, even if you put only 1 second or something, to use both. But there are scenarios where you say, okay, no, it's every 30 seconds and this only takes 1 or 2 seconds. Okay, so in that case, you don't need the fixed delay. So at the end of the day, use the fixed delay when you want to make sure that you only start the next execution after the first one really finish its execution. Of course, the Cron, it's a kind of a fixed rate, but it can be quite complicated for advanced scenarios. And I will probably in a future video I'll explain the Cron if someone puts something on the comments. But you can read from it. You can customize almost everything about time. And Spring Boot also give you the option to use Cron rather than fixed rate or fixed delay, but it's a choice. It depends on scenario. A good practice that you can do on Spring is to externalize. You can have a configuration file where you can put these configurations, and it's a very nice addition. So sometimes people just say, okay, so I will have to put 30 seconds on the method and that's it. Now you can put on the outside, and you can even refresh it's necessary if you use things like Spring Cloud and things like that I will address in a future video. Okay, so what we'll be building on this video, I'll just build a very simple thing for you to see. It's an heartbeat. It says, okay, I'm alive every 5 seconds or something. And you say, okay, why this example is so simple? What do I learn from it? Yeah, you can do this for any method with any purpose. So if you can do an heartbeat, you can do everything with the scheduler. Okay, project setup, you can use Spring Initializer if you are new to Spring. If you are not, it should be easy. You can skip this slide. So the only dependency is Spring Boot Starter. Here, create a project. You can go to this website, or if you see one of my previous videos about the Spring Boot CLI, you can also use the command line to create the application. Then you can run the application like this. This is the usual way to start the Spring Boot application. Nothing new for you. If you are targeting Spring Scheduler, I believe that you already did something about the Spring in the past. So let's see the code that you should develop. Here you have the Spring Boot application, your main application, and you can see here that you have enabled scheduling. That's what you should do. Remember that Spring, it's a declarative framework, meaning that you have to provide everything in advance by using annotations and configurations. So when the application starts, it prepares everything for your application to execute. So that's why usually you need this kind of annotations when you are plugging a kind of a new framework. And in our case, we are plugging in the scheduler. You don't have to do nothing else than this to enable the scheduling. Now, imagine that you have a component. Of course, you also need beans, otherwise the regular class will be completely ignored by Spring, not by the Java virtual machine, of course, but by Spring only targets its own components, like component services and so on. So imagine that you have this method, which is our tick or heartbeat, and you just want to log something happen, but you can adapt this method to whatever you want. And you can see that we have this annotation here, schedule, and we say fixed rate string. Usually you can use just fixed rate. I put this advanced because you have both ways. The simple one, it's quite simple. You just put fixed rate, and after you just create you can put some labels, you can put constants, you can put a number like 5 for seconds. But I want to show you a more advanced way to do it, but you can target both. So you have fixed rate, and you also have the option to fixed rate string. And when you have string, you can target here a specific property that you have on your configuration file. And here I'm saying target the configuration named app heartbeat rate in milliseconds, and you have this number after the colon here. It means that if this property is not there, use this number. I think it's a quite professional way to do it, or enterprise way. And additionally, it's optional, but you can put initial delay string, meaning, okay, wait 1 second after the previous one was executed. Otherwise, it just executes every 5 seconds this. And if you put here, let's say a thread slip for 6 seconds, you can see the second one starting even before the first one stopped. So be careful with that. That's why usually these two, there is a high probability for you to see these two properties here of the schedule. So at the end of the day, run every 5 seconds, use this property if it doesn't exist. If it exists, use the value of this property and start the next one after this time, which in this case is 1 second, or you also define it on a properties file. So this is how you can externalize. You can see the up, heartbeat, rate milliseconds, or initial delay. And if you look into this is the YAML way. If you are new to this, you can put in one line with the dot, or you can use the YAML way. It's the extension that defines it. And you can see this up heartbeat rate MS. It's this up dot heartbeat rate. Even in YAML or regular property files in the Spring, you always write like this. So now, after you do that, you just run. You can run like this. If you are new to this, Maven Spring Boot run, you just run it. Okay, and you should see on the output every 5 seconds heartbeat with the value of the clock of your machine. So quick meta model, fixed rate schedule based on the start time of the last run, tick-tock on a metronome, fixed delay schedule based on the end time, meaning you wait a number of milliseconds or seconds after this one finished. That's why you say start time, because when you can say, okay, I will say that it's every 30 seconds. If you want to be precise, it's not the way Spring Boot thinks. It's when you put 30 seconds, for instance, here, or 5 seconds, what you are saying is that, okay, so I start now, and now the next one will start after this time, 5 seconds. It's almost as if we say every 5 seconds. It's the same way, but if you want to be precise, you are a precise person, a very algebraic person about programming, it means that this one, it's the same as this, but this one, it's about when it finishes, and this is when it's so the second one will start after 5 seconds. That's the real definition of the fixed rate string. That's what you see here written, schedule based on the start time of the last run. Okay. So optional, you can use Cron. I will address this in the future in more advanced scenarios. You can, I think you can create a set of videos only about Cron, to be fair here, but this is another way to write it. You have schedule Cron, and you say that every 5 seconds, and you can also include the time zone. If you have a website or something that it is deployed in multiple clouds in multiple regions, probably the zone can be important, so you can go with the Cron. If you need this time zone, you should use the Cron. But that is, at the end of the day, it's the same thing, runs every 5 seconds based on Cron, and as I said previously, we are sticking to the fixed rate in this session, but you can also have this option. Okay, so quick checks and pitfalls. Sometimes things don't work. So did you add enable scheduling? This is the most naive, but probably it's the first error that we do in our application. We forget to put the enable scheduling on our main application. Okay, don't block for too long inside the test. Remember that use this for tasks that are quick, because you are putting a fixed rate and you want to control that. If you need more than that, you want Spring Batch, probably with Quartz and things like that. You don't want this. This is for simple tasks. Okay, use properties for timing, meaning the ones that I show you in the properties file. And don't forget if you want to make sure that you don't overlap the executions, don't forget initial delay or initial delay string. They are doing the same thing. In this one, you put a value. In this one, you put a property, and optionally with a value. So let's recap what we did here. So enable schedule. To turn it, use the notation schedule in one or more methods. It's not one. You can put as much as you wish. Of course, each one will have a schedule thread associated with it. Be careful with that. And you can build the periodic task. And good practice, externalize with properties for easy tuning. So this is what I wanted to explain to you about the Spring Scheduler, the introduction that I wanted to do. I didn't create the demo because it's a very really simple one that you should be able to develop. So I think there was no reason for me to put more 5 or 10 minutes on this video just to show you just the main and the method being executed with Heartbeat. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe, provide your comments, give me motivation to create more videos, and for sure I will create further videos about the scheduler with more advanced scenarios. I did this on the past, and I can provide you some experience on my side, not only about the configuration that you can do, but even advice about when not to use it and some things that you should be careful when you are using it. So thank you, and I hope to see you on my next video.